Hello, Old Outdoor Broad here with yet another installment about my cochlear implant slash hearing journey. And as I mentioned in the last episode, what I want to share with you today is the tech that's involved and tech that you're going to use through the life of the devices. I say devices because there are two. There is the cochlear implant processor device for my right ear in my case, and the paired hearing aid in my left ear. And now both of those need to be managed. So without further ado, let's take a look at the phone and the app and talk about how it works. Just a little disclaimer here. The brand I chose is Advanced Bionics, so that's what you're going to see. I suspect it's similar for whatever brand of device you choose, but just know that that's specific to the manufacturer. So let's get started. Here we are at my phone screen, and we're going to go ahead and open the OOB remote app. That's it right there. And the first thing it's going to do is it's going to connect with your devices. So as you can see there, it says connected left, connected right, and then in the right, and then it disappears off the screen once you confirm that both devices are connected. And then it on the right-hand side there, that's 75%. That's how much battery you have left, and that is in the processor only. That's not both devices. Let's see here, and then you see above that it says calm situation, OOB remote, and then we're going to click on the settings icon there to the right of OOB remote. And this is what it brings up. So the first thing is app settings. So there's the technical jargon about the app. Not going to look at the end user. And then this is, in order to help improve, you can choose to share the information, analytics about how everything is working, how often you're using the device, and I went ahead and clicked that. Okay, we don't need to look at demo mode. Now let's look at my devices. And you can see you have my programs. Click that. And these are all the programs that you may or may not have access to. So I'll go over those in more detail on the main screen. What I do want to point out is as you go down and you look at these where it says Roger Direct, I do have a Roger device. And what that is, it's a device you'd use in a noisy environment, let's just say a restaurant, that you would take with you, and you would set it on the table and turn it on and connect it to your devices. And it helps you pick out the table conversation over the noise in the room. Now, so far I haven't really needed it, but I did get one because I do find myself in some noisy situations from time to time. Statistics. Now, average wearing time per day. It's interesting that it's not there. I looked at it a couple minutes ago, and my average wearing time is actually 14 and a half hours a day. So, and this is one of the quirks of this app. It does these weird things. And interestingly enough, when we first went into the app, you saw that it connected to both devices, the left hearing aid and the right processor. Sometimes it doesn't do that, and I have to go in and out of the app a couple of times in order to get everything to connect. So am I surprised that a few minutes ago I saw what my average wearing time was and now I can't see it? No, not really, because the app seems to be a little finicky in that way. I put my hearing aid and my processor on when I get up first thing in the morning, and I take it off before I go to bed. I don't have any time not wearing it. And just a little side note here, I do believe that's one of the reasons I was at 92% at my last visit to the audiologist and not at 82% or lower, is because I want to hear the world in the way that I used to before I had to, put a bunch of things in my ears. And then remove devices will enable you to do just that. And this is cool because it does tell you it's a little bit of troubleshooting. So I have had some connection problems. For example, the left hearing aid has a nasty habit of putting static on a phone call. Now, when I went to the audiologist and got set up and we downloaded this app, she helped me get the devices connected via Bluetooth. So what that means is it's actually really nice because your phone rings, it just rings right into your ear. When you pick it up, you're having the conversation on your devices. And it worked great when it was just the processor. Once I got the left hearing aid, there was static. And so what I had to do was I had to take that left hearing aid out and flip the battery out because, if it's on, it's going to interfere. It doesn't know if it's in your ear or not, right? So I had to actually flip the battery out to remove that static. But reading in here, it gives you things you can do so that you don't have to do that. All right, that's remove my devices. Help is exactly what it says. I'm not going to open that up because, as you can see, it's going to an outside site. But it gives you access to the AB help resources. Device check. Now this is another one of those weird things here. See how it says play beep, and it's right now, right? So let's see what happens. Okay, it won't even do it. Now I can't do anything with that. Do I know why? No. Do I know they're working? Yeah, I know my devices are working. So again, just another one of those weird quirks of this app. So let's get out of that. And it really shouldn't be doing that, but that might explain why I didn't get some stuff. So this is what you have to do. This is weird. So we're gonna go back into it. Okay, both devices are connected to the phone. So just for fun, let's go back here, go to my devices, and look at statistics. Nope, still not. There we go. So that's what I'm talking about. One of the quirks of this app. I don't know why it does that, but it does. So it gives you your battery level, and again, that's on the processor, and shows you how often you're wearing it. And the advice is wear it like your normal ears. Hook up first thing in the morning and unhook at night before you go to bed. That's how you'll get the most mileage out of it. All right. So, okay, it takes a couple minutes to turn back. So what you see here now is you see it says calm situation. So when you're working with your audiologist to fine-tune the processor, you're going to have a variety of programs. So basically, I told my audiologist, here's what I do. I play golf. I go camping and hiking. Sometimes I'm by myself watching TV. And of course, driving in the car was a big one, listening to the radio. And then I was sitting out on my patio trying to listen to music. So you tell your audiologist what you're experiencing and the things you like to do and spend time doing that involve a specific hearing need, and they help you pick out programs that work. So this is called calm situation. Now this is for when, obviously, you're not going to use this in a restaurant. So from a noise standpoint, a restaurant is not a calm situation. There's a lot going on. But when I'm here at home and I'm by myself and just watching TV or listening to music while I'm doing housework, things like that, calm situation works pretty well. And this is my default. The audiologist will also set the default for you based on how you spend a lot of your time or feedback you give about other programs. So that's how I wound up here. So if you click that arrow, those are all my my programs I have access to. So let's click AutoSense. That was the original default. And here's how AutoSense works and how it's different. AutoSense is going to automatically sense what is the loudest noise or the most pronounced noise in your environment, and it's going to prioritize that for you. And this I like when I'm just outside, like playing golf. It's a good thing playing golf because there's a lot of noises, but it's going to prioritize anyone that's talking to me, and it's not really noisy. It's not like we're, right next to a freeway and having to deal with a lot of noise. So AutoSense works well in that environment. I also use this when I'm outside. But when I first got it and it was my default, where I really started to notice it being weird is driving. Because what happens when you're driving is noise comes and goes. Like it'll get quiet, maybe you're alone on the road, and then all of a sudden a giant truck comes up. And let's say you're alone on the road, you're listening to the radio so you can hear the music, and then this giant truck goes by. AutoSense is going to switch off and give that giant truck priority. Now, maybe that's good, maybe it's not, right? Maybe it's a giant truck honking its horn because something is going on. But that's how AutoSense works. And I didn't like that while driving because I couldn't focus on anything, right? There was all this stuff going on. Now that figures, now I got a message just popped in, isn't that funny? So AutoSense I use when I'm hiking, golfing, just generally running around, and calm situation is what I start with. Let's see what else I've got here. Speech in noise, I use that in the noisy situation so far in lieu of the Roger device. Now that being said, I've only been in a speech and noise situation prior to having the left hearing aid. I haven't been in enough of them yet with the left hearing aid to know how that's going to work, but I'm thinking speech in noise is going to be okay, and I may never need the Roger device and may never need to have to activate it. Comfort in noise she gave me, I've never used it. I assume that might be maybe a concert, and maybe it's a rock concert, right? And so there's loud music and maybe it hurts, but you still need it to hear. So I've never had a situation yet where I thought I needed that, where there were noises that were hurting my ears. Fingernails on a blackboard, right? But that's what comfort in noise is designed for. And then she recently added music. Now it's different in the car because there's noise. So I don't use the music setting when I'm driving. But if I'm sitting out quietly at home, let's say I actually want to listen to music as opposed to it's just in the background and I'm cleaning the shower or something like that. I had her add this music program for me. Now, I haven't tested it yet, but the problem with music, and I think I mentioned this in a previous video, but it's probably worth saying again, is some music is extremely complicated, like classical music. There's a lot going on, and I still have the echoey noise in my right ear. It hasn't gone away yet, and it makes listening to music not enjoyable when you're actually listening to listen. So I have to test that out. I haven't tried that yet, but I have it available, so I'm looking forward to giving that a try. Now I'm going to put it back to calm situation because that's where I'm at, and that's really the best for what I am. It does indicate that Bluetooth is connected. That's why it flashes Bluetooth streaming there. Okay, so that is the tech you have to work with. Now let me just do one more thing and then we'll get off the phone. Now you see that dot in the middle, a blue line from the bottom up to the middle of the screen, and then it's gray beyond that. And you see the word split at the bottom. Okay, so right now the device, the phone, is joining, as far as these settings go, my hearing aid and my processor. So if I push this button, see how it goes 1, 2, blah, blah, that just raised the volume. And it raised the volume in both ears because they are connected. One line, it's treating both ears as one hearing tool. Now that's really loud for me, so I'm going to put it back down to 0. But that's what you can do there. Now, if you tap split, now you can control the volume separately. So let's say, and this is how I felt when I first got the left hearing aid, it felt louder than the right. And I don't know if it really was. It may just be because my left ear is hearing normal, right? It's hearing acoustic. It just has to be amplified because it's damaged for volume, but for comprehension, it's just fine. So it's hearing normal. It's hearing clear. What I'm getting is perfectly clear. The right ear, on the other hand, is more extremely damaged, and it's getting electrical signals, and it still has that echoing noise. So for a little bit, I just raised the volume on the right to try and counterbalance that. And interestingly enough, right now it's working. Just like the other quirks of this app, I tried it one day and it just kept going back down to 0. But this enables you to adjust the volume separately and individually if needed. Now I don't really need that, so I'm just going to put that back there. I'm going to join them again, because that seems to be what's working best for me. And the way I will continue to understand that, of course, is continuing to be in different situations. So there isn't a lot of tech. It's just there is some, and it's a part of having this particular device. Now, question, how many times do you think I go out into the world and forget to change my program setting? Almost every day. You know, like I said, I get up, I put it on. The default setting is calm situation. And usually I start the morning, having breakfast, and I will watch some TV. And then, I go on my walk, I go play golf, or I go shopping, or I get ready to go on a trip. Whatever it is I'm doing, I go out into the world. But do I change the setting? No. And I'll get in the middle of something and I'll go, God, this would be better for you if you changed it to a more appropriate setting. So that's one thing. You have to remember to change the settings as your situation changes, because what you don't want to do is you spend all this money, you spend all this time practicing your word exercises and putting yourself in different situations so that you can get into the 90 percentile with this ear. And then you're sitting in a restaurant and you struggling to hear the conversation at the table, and you're like, it doesn't work. Well, might go better with the right setting. And you might even need a device like the Roger device, a different device to make it work to the best of its ability. So that's kind of a funny thing because I forget to do that all the time. I did talk, I had a follow-up appointment with my surgeon earlier this week, and he said a couple of interesting things. First of all, I'm at 92% comprehension in my right ear. He said, that's really about as good as it gets. He said, it probably isn't going to get much better than that. And the way I did that, because he said, that's really, really good. So apparently there are people who don't get that much in the time frame, surgery being in mid-January to now almost the end of June. He said, yeah, I've progressed really well. Why? Well, I did my word exercises religiously every night, and I put myself in a variety of situations. I had noisy situations, quiet situations, moderate situations. I went camping, I went hiking, I'd listen to birds, I sat at home and listened to music and watched TV. So I did a variety of things. And again, you got to work this out. It needs practice. I also asked him if the echoey noise would ever go away, because the audiologist, I think, has done all she can from a programming standpoint. And he said, yes, it would. He said that takes a whole lot more time, but that's part of your ears now, your brain actually learning to work with two different sets of audio signals. So that will, and that's good news because that echoing noise is really annoying. He also said one other very interesting thing, and I put this out there to help people. He said that the hardest patient are men over 70. He says what he has noticed is apparently with a lot of men, and I'm going to think that maybe hearing impairment contributes to this, but he says there's something about turning 70 that they tend to not want to go out and do things anymore. And so they're not going out, and as a result, not exposing themselves to a wide variety of situations and giving their brain the opportunity it needs to develop that ability and hear and comprehend into the 90 percentile range. He says, he doesn't know why, of course. It's just something he's noticed in the course of his time doing cochlear implant surgery and then helping people hear better afterwards. So if you are a man over 70 and you're looking into this, or if you are the partner of a man over 70 and you can see that he's developing a habit of not wanting to be out around people and events, just keep that in mind if you're considering a cochlear implant journey, because the device can't do it all on its own. You have to meet it halfway, and you have to get out and do the work. With that, I wish everyone all the best in their hearing journeys. You're probably not going to be seeing too many more of these from me because obviously it's getting to its end game. But if something new comes up, I have a huge new experience, or I learned something new, I of course will pass it along to you. And I really look forward to hearing you in the old outdoors. Thanks for watching.